So with the Bombers not playing this weekend, having played on the Thursday night and with a bye next week and not playing for 16 days until we travel to Adelaide to play Melbourne in Gather Round, a lot of the eyes were on the VFL game today down at the Hangar. Thought I'd have a bit of a look. You can stream that on afl.com.au for those that are interested. The Bombers went down by 4 goals to Werribee. Werribee were the reigning premiers. A little bit of an interest for me. I'm from Werribee, sort of have a bit of a soft spot for both teams there. But I know what you all want to know is how did some of the younger players go, and even some of the older players, how did they go as well? So, I watched this game, and the two best players were probably Todd Goldstein and Will Setterfield. Goldstein was, everywhere in the first quarter. He had about 5 kicks in the first 5 minutes, and ended up with 25 possessions for the match for a ruckman and 45 hitouts. I mean, he looked like it was a men against boys sort of thing out there, and obviously he's probably not going to be playing senior football this year, Todd. But if one of the two ruckmen goes down, Draper or Nick Bryan, there's every chance that Goldstein can come in and perform a role this year if he's required to with injuries. Just looking at the way he played today, he was absolutely fantastic, and he's still got a lot of ability, even though he may have declined a little bit with age. He really did dominate there. I mean, obviously he should be dominating at VFL level, someone of his standing. But he was really the best player. Setterfield was fantastic. He was probably the best player on the ground, at least for us. There was a couple of good players for Werribee, but we will focus on the Bombers. He had 28 possessions and 9 tackles. A couple of years ago when he came to the club, he was our leading tackler on average per game from the 9 or 10 games that he played. So, he would be a pretty good addition to the midfield. It just depends who comes out, but he will be pushing for senior selection. He's a pretty handy player, as we know. Of the younger players, younger listed players, the ones you're probably most interested about, and we'll just go through them. Zak Johnson was probably the best. I mean, I really rate this player. He was picked up number 70 in the draft. He was injured during the sort of draft combine, so he couldn't do, I think that's where they do all the beep tests and things like that, which may have been a reason why he fell to as low as 70. He is known as being a really, really good kick, and just the way he moves around the ground, he just knows how to play football. He's just got a really good football brain. He had 25 possessions for the match, 17 kicks. Just needs to work on the defensive side of his game and things like that, but I would anticipate that he would probably be playing senior football by the end of the year. It might not be until the end of the year, but I reckon he'll be playing football this year. He does look really, really, really good. Day-Wicks, who we took late in the rookie draft, who sort of plays as a forward midfielder, actually had 4 shots at goal, kicked 1 goal, 3, and had 17 possessions. He looked pretty good. Hayes as well. Everyone was wondering about Hayes. How did Hayes go? Hayes, of course, last week had 16 marks, and a lot of people were saying that, he could have been a possible inclusion for Zach Reid. Zach Reid, of course, played really well on Thursday night, and good on him. And I don't think Brad Scott probably would have wanted to play the 2 first gamers, as I brought up in a previous video. Well, Hayes had 18 possessions today, only the 6 marks, and 14 kicks. It looked like he did all right. He did make one bad error in the third quarter where he kicked across the face of goal and a mark was taken by one of the Werribee players, which was not great, but he looked pretty solid. Angus Clark, unfortunately, we didn't see a lot of him. He only had the 3 disposals in the first quarter and was going okay, but he came off the ground with some sort of injury. I'm not sure what. He had to go back into the hangar, so hopefully he's okay, but he didn't come back onto the ground, so it was serious enough that he couldn't resume the game. So hopefully that's not too bad for Angus Clark. He's obviously a player we'll be looking at. Reece Unwin is a player that I like the look of. He is, a small player, left footer, good skills, good football brain. Didn't really do a lot today. He only had the 1 possession up to half time. He ended up with 6. Did a little bit in the last quarter, but to be honest, he was pretty quiet, as was Cale Geron, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce his name. He didn't really do a lot down there in the forward line. He kicked a goal in the last quarter. Vicentini popped up and did a few nice things. He's 204 centimetres and he's a bit of a project player for us. He wasn't really playing in the ruck. He only had 5 hitouts. Obviously, Goldstein was just doing that all day. But he popped up and had 3 scoring shots. Saw him kick a goal, so he looked like he did okay. Davey did a couple of things, kicked it behind, had 9 possessions, wasn't really involved in the game that much. Same with Nguyen, who just had the 7 touches and just did a few things. I thought he had more than that. He seemed to be around and kind of impactful when he was there, but wasn't a tremendously impactful game from him. But I'd say of the younger players, the ones that we're looking at, the ones that might be able to potentially make a debut this year, the ones who you're probably most interested in, Zak Johnson was probably the best player of that lot. Probably Archer Day-Wicks was probably the next best player, and maybe Lewis Hayes after that. They were probably the three players of the ones who are, potential players who could make their debuts this year. A lot of the others are fairly quiet. Yeah, Dream was quiet. Unwin was kind of quiet. So it was kind of a mixed performance, to be honest. Werribee did have a good game. He looked pretty solid down there. He took a good intercept mark in the third quarter. Some wonder whether he's up to AFL level. But look, he could be ready to step up. If we have some injuries down there in the back line. But other than that, I think he'll probably struggle to get into the team. Parrish didn't play in this game, for those that were wondering. Parrish still was a little bit sore in the back, and they didn't want to risk him for this game. It's probably the right thing to do, given that we've got a bye this week and the VFL will be playing next week. There's really no reason to play him this week if he's not 100%. He can play in the VFL next week, and he's still not missing any AFL game time. That'll give him at least one VFL game, and then they'll see what they want to do with him after that. I think he should play maybe a couple of games in the VFL. So I'd anticipate he'd be playing in the VFL next week. He was earmarked to play in this game a couple of weeks ago, but they decided that his back just wasn't quite 100%, and they want to wait till it's 100% before he comes back into the team. So I reckon he'll probably play next week. Maybe another VFL game in the week after. I reckon they'll give him 2 games in the VFL, and he'll probably come into the seniors after that. So, Parrish, as I've said a few times before, Parrish is one of those players that just needs game time in him. He's not at his best when he comes back for his first game. He just needs that 2 or 3 game stretch. Once he's second or third up, then he's at his best. So, that's just a bit of a report on how the VFL guys went. Hope everyone's having a good day. Please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm when you do so. We'll sure all the videos appear on your YouTube feed. It takes 1 second to do so. It doesn't cost any money. I would really appreciate it if you could just click that button right now. So as always, go Bombers!